The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some considered to be unnatural. And thus, May the 4th is over. Revenge of the 5th is here. And with that being said, everyone, let's pick up a copy of the sequel game to the greatest Star Wars game of all time. Let's pick up Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. A rather appropriate game to talk about on Revenge of the 5th. Some people call it Return of the 5th. I'm more of a Revenge of the 5th, Return of the 6th kind of guy, but what have you. Anyways, guys, this is kind of a sequel video to yesterday's May the 4th Be With You Star Wars Day video. A lot of us nerdy Star Wars fans, we like to celebrate, Revenge of the 5th, kind of keep the fun jazz rolling, watch a couple more Star Wars films the following day, that kind of jazz. And Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, though overseen by BioWare and using the same engine and yada yada yada, it actually was made by Obsidian Entertainment. They were the main developer on this, though it was, once again, still LucasArts and all that fun jazz, and it is an official sequel game, and it plays very much the same, though there are some changes that I mentioned in yesterday's video. This, honestly, is a fantastic sequel. Anything that, when I first played Knights of the Old Republic, you couldn't have told me what was the faults, right? Like, I could listen to some critiques and such, but it's the minor things that this game changed, which really you didn't know you kind of needed. And when I went back my first playthrough after playing this a few times, and then when I jumped back to Knights of the Old Republic 1, I noticed that the changes this game brought us, sort of like going back to Pokemon Red Blue, and then you jump over to Gold and Silver. A lot of people for some reason, don't really like Gen 2. They think there's a lot of faults. But there are so many game mechanics that have become fan favorites and a standard of Pokemon games, you don't even realize that they weren't actually in the originals. Same thing with this. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 was a goddamn good sequel. It didn't actually play, I'll put it to you this way. The opening level is the worst part of the game. When you play that mining facility for the 60th time, running all these different characters, trying out all these different things, that can get daunting. The Pragus mining facility is a bit of a stretch, is a bit of a bore, unlike the Endar Spire and the first part of Terrace sort of idea in Knights of the Old Republic 1. However, the cast here is no less incredible. Having a sequel to that game, not knowing where your main character is from the previous game and what's going on here, and Kreia is just she's a delight, isn't she? She's just fantastic. The introduction of new Sith Lords that are shrouded in so much mystery, but also have very compelling backstories. The cinematography in this game, especially on the Harbinger when you're trying to escape the mining facility at the beginning of the game, is actually that was shot so well with the voice acting and everything going on. It was absolutely amazing. This game was modded much more heavily than the first one. They had a little more leeway because of the addition of just small things. More lightsabers, more robes, more items, more everything. An expansive inventory with more focus on detail. They took the initial concept Knights of the Old Republic brought us, and they simply expanded upon it. They improved where we didn't even know it needed the improvements. We had more feats, a higher level cap. We had lightsaber forms and force forms, and we could learn all these different techniques. We had proper Jedi robes with the actual, the robe part sort of idea. These things were amazing, and they made you feel so much cooler, especially, and once again, the characters in this game were no short of amazing, just like its predecessor. We had people like Atton and Kreia, and the entire storyline, if you follow the female protagonist this time, you have a very compelling storyline following her as a Jedi. And all this stuff. The exile, your character. There is just the whole idea you were a general. You worked under Revan. There was all these things that just, it really added a certain weight to what was going on in the aftermath of the first game. What happened after the fact? Remember, there was still the entirety of the Mandalorian Wars. And then after that, we had the Knights of the Old Republic with the Jedi Civil War. 2 wars. It was anarchy for the most part. And this is a recovering galaxy. I mean, look at what one war waged on one planet can do in our own history. Now imagine that on such a grand scale. No matter how many other planets you have to take control of all these planets. It'd just be a nightmare to try to suffer through. And so this felt like a very compelling story. We still get, there's still HK-47, the whole HK-50 factory thing, which has been restored by mods. That was a big problem. A lot of people had a problem with this game. Was the idea that it was incomplete. And it was. It was rushed and incomplete, unfortunately. But through modding, which, once again, you could say, well, yeah, but if you play the actual game with no mods, no cosmetics, no nothing, then this is what you get. It feels a little hollow. Sure, but all the program files and the dialogue and stuff is actually in the disc. It's on the game files. They just went into the data and restored it. It's not added fan content to make a better game. The game was there. It was just on too much of a tight schedule, too much of a budget. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know why they do that to gaming companies all the time. It seems like it's a thing that's more prevalent now in the gaming industry than ever before, but it happened back then as well. And here we are seeing a perfect example of this, though it was still a fantastic experience. And if you have the chance to pick it up, I urge you to pick it up, whether on Steam and stuff. I'm actually having a bit of a trouble getting Knights of the Old Republic to work here on Windows 10. I think I got it semi-fixed, though it does crash at times. And I don't seem to have found any real fix for that thus far. But Knights of the Old Republic 2 is also available on Steam and stuff. So I urge you, if you're a Star Wars fan, a video game fan, all that stuff, pick it up and just try it. And if you find, this is missing or this is lacking and such, trust me, if there were mods for Knights of the Old Republic, this one dwarfs it with the number of customization and mods you can add into this game. There is so much depth that fan creations, of course, have added, but the HK-50 factory and all these other things are there. We get some returning faces like HK-47 and such, and I just absolutely, the Ebon Hawk is back and all that fun jazz. It feels like in Star Wars, of course, we always will have the Millennium Falcon. And we'll have the classic TIE Fighter and stuff. But I feel like the Ebon Hawk is the right up there in the ranks, with the actual movie canon ships as iconic. The Ebon Hawk is just such a, is it a play on the Millennium Falcon? Of course it is. But is it not a great ship? Do you not love that ship? Because we all love that ship. And either way, I just found that this game was a worthy sequel. It was fantastic. I had a lot of fun playing it, I remember. And honestly, if I can get Knights of the Old Republic 1 up and running and working again properly, maybe I'll do a Let's Play. I don't know yet. See how well the gameplay will actually work. If I can even record it, that kind of deal. I might actually go back and then start this. Because the little tweaks that this game makes to the inventory, the idea to make security more viable and computer use because of broken items. As I said, the addition of the Jedi robes was a huge thing for me, a huge thing. The updates in the graphical interface, we had just a wider array of options and how to go about each place. Now, I will admit, the opening parts are probably its weakest. I mean, first you're all excited, but after you've played that section for a bit, I can honestly say that Terrace is Telos is no Terrace. How's that? Telos is no Terrace. The Harbinger stuff is fine, but it feels like, okay, we went through a whole mining facility just to get to the Endar Spire Part 2. Though there is some good things about this. You're a Jedi from the get-go. That is a big thing. That's pretty cool. Plays differently. It's not meant to be a carbon copy of the original. It's got that BioWare feel to it. but it does its own thing. And you can put them in pro or con columns all you want. I've listed a few here, things that I was kind of like, but you things want to go at their own pace. Maybe I just overplayed that section of a game. Who knows? But either way, to me, this was an absolutely worthy sequel. Some people even like it more than the original, and I can understand why. I truly can. Because once you've played this game, going back to the first one actually feels like you are downgrading just a little bit. It has that nostalgic feel, but you realize that this one had a little more polish to it, surprisingly enough, for a rushed sequel. So either way, both games are incredible. I just thought I'd make this, because May the 5th and that kind of idea. Why not just make another one, right? So that's my 2-part Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic videos for the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed. I like to expand my content when I get the chance, when I go see a movie. Never did make that Sonic the Hedgehog review. Whatever. But things like that, I like to change it up a little bit here just to keep you guys on your toes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you had a good Star Wars day, and May the 4th and May the 5th, however you guys celebrated it, whether you gave a shit, whether you watched the movies, whether you played a video game, what have you. Either way, everyone stay safe. This has been Griever. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you back here next time. See you guys. And may the Force be with you.